We are live. Yes, it's Wednesday night. Time for Dynamite. Well, 13 minutes. It's time for Dynamite. So we are live here on Wrestle News 365 for another watch along. This week it's for AEW Dynamite, the Full Gear Go Home episode. Yes, Full Gear is this Saturday on pay-per-view, which we will be doing a watch along for that as well. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, click that notification bell, and then you'll be notified when we go live on Saturday night for the Full Gear watch along. We're also going to be doing watch along for SmackDown on Friday too. Also do watch alongs for Monday Night Raw, Wednesday Night Dynamites like this. We also post daily videos, so be sure to click the bottom right hand corner to subscribe. As I mentioned, Full Gear is Saturday, so this is the go home show, as they say in the industry. So very interested to see what AEW Dynamite throws at us tonight. Traditionally, their go home shows are pretty strong, and usually have a big angle to close the show. Have the go home show, so should be very good. We've got a lot of announced matches for tonight on Dynamite, which I always enjoy because I can make lots of graphics. But no, I'll always like to have things announced because then you know what you're getting. It's the most frustrating thing when it comes to Raw and SmackDown in recent weeks is that so much where we don't know what's going to happen, and not in a good way. I know sometimes when people say, "Oh, you don't know what's going to happen," that's great, and that is true to a point. WWE don't announce things for Raw and SmackDown some weeks, not because they're trying to keep us guessing, because at that point in time, they're still guessing. They don't know what's going to be on their TV show at the time. So I do enjoy when we have a lot of things announced for a show prior to the show going on the air. So AEW Dynamite has a lot of things that have been already announced for tonight's show. So we have Chris Jericho on commentary for tonight's show again. Now, obviously, Chris Jericho, whenever he's on commentary, does great. I think he did great with Tony Schiavone in those empty arena shows at the beginning of the pandemic. When was that? About April, May? Those shows from Atlanta, Georgia, inside the Nightmare Factory. I thought Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone, they were great. They were absolutely great. The problem is that obviously a lot of people are probably going to be slightly upset with Chris Jericho today with that tweet. I don't have to read out what that tweet was. I don't have to say anything from that tweet. If I say Chris Jericho, that tweet, I think probably at this point of time, everyone knows what tweet I'm talking about when it comes to Chris Jericho. Let's just say, I'm not a political person, so I don't know what he's on about. But no, obviously he's got a lot of flack for that tweet, rightfully so. So it's interesting because certainly it's a really difficult one. I think I don't even know, to be honest, if I should really discuss it because I just probably end up getting angry, to be honest. But it's very, very odd. I suppose, he's playing a heel on TV and he's literally turned heel in real life, I suppose. Regardless of your political view, you can't question his quality. I'm sure he'll be great on commentary tonight. And I'm sure we'll also see some developments in his feud, romance, whatever you want to call it, with MJF heading into their match at Full Gear on Saturday. So Jericho's on commentary tonight. We also have Sammy Guevara and Ortiz going up against MJF and Wardlow. So as I mentioned, Chris Jericho is on commentary. So I'm sure we'll see some form of a flare-up, an angle, something to as a last-ditch hype for the MJF versus Chris Jericho match Saturday at Full Gear. So I'm sure we'll get that during the Sammy Guevara and Ortiz match against MJF and Wardlow. Also got Miro going up against Trent tonight. Miro's going to have Kip Sabian in his corner. Chuck Taylor is going to be in the corner of Trent. That obviously goes back to the angle on Dynamite a few weeks ago where the match was the Best Friends versus, was it Blade and Butcher? I forget who the team they were facing. Either way, it was FTR, wasn't it? Yeah, it was FTR. FTR, they brawl into the audience or the wrestlers at ringside, and they go through like a pinball machine or an arcade machine that Miro had set up for Kip Sabian. And then Miro gets really angry and says, "You broke my stuff, so I'm going to break you." I absolutely hated that. I mean, I really hated that. I'm not one of those people that's an AEW basher. Believe me, I'm really not. But starting off a feud because you broke someone's arcade machine is as bad as fighting over a Japanese shampoo commercial or having a feud because Chris Jericho spilt coffee on Kane. You know, you're starting a feud over because you broke an arcade machine. Are you serious? Seriously? Miro, this is a guy that could be a world champion in AEW. I mean, I understand of the introduction of the best man, and I understand that Miro is slightly comedic and he's got a great personality, and that's fine. But seriously, starting a feud over breaking an arcade machine? Man, I get that Miro and Kip Sabian are Twitch streamers and they like playing games, but AEW, stop playing games with me. This is outrageous. Miro getting in a feud with Trent because he broke an arcade machine. My, oh my. Now, we were scheduled to have Shawn Spears versus Scorpio Sky, but that match has been cancelled / postponed. We'll touch on that in a second. We have AEW TNT champion Cody teaming up with the Gun Club, which is Billy and Austin Gunn, going up against the Dark Order's John Silver, Colt Cabana, and Ten. So I guess we're still getting some remnants of the Cody and Brody Lee feud. Doesn't look to be over yet, even though Cody is facing Darby Allin this Saturday for the TNT Championship at Full Gear. We have a face-to-face confrontation before their I Quit match at Full Gear for the World Championship. It's AEW World Champion Jon Moxley going face-to-face with the challenger Eddie Kingston, which means we're probably going to get another absolute fire Eddie Kingston promo, which I'm very, very, very excited for. We also have Nyla Rose going up against Red Velvet ahead of her AEW World Women's Championship match against Hikaru Shida this Saturday at Full Gear. But maybe the thing I'm looking forward to the most on this show is that we have the returning Pac on the show. Yes, we haven't seen Pac. We haven't seen Pac in person on Dynamite since the pandemic started or really hit back in March. So I don't think he's going to be in person. I don't know if they've said he's physically going to be in Daly's place. I'm not sure if he will be. But the last we saw of Pac on AEW Dynamite, if I recall correctly, was either during the Nightmare Factory shows or just when they returned to Daly's place. Either way, they did a vignette where Pac basically shot it, obviously over here in the UK, and they had a cool shot of Pac standing there dressed up and then standing in his ring gear with the mask over his face. I thought that looked pretty cool, but we haven't heard anything from him since, and there's not a lot that Pac can really do, because Pac, well, then was over here due to the quarantine and due to the travel restrictions, pandemic. I don't know if since then he's travelled over to the United States. I would hope so, because right now we are just about to go into another national lockdown. I mean, I think as of now it's literally in effect. It started at midnight over here. So if he's still in the UK, he's definitely not travelling to the United States now. So I don't know what the situation is with that, but I'm looking forward to see what happens with Pac tonight. Now, I mentioned that Scorpio Sky versus Shawn Spears was meant to happen tonight on Dynamite. However, it's been nixed from the show due to COVID-19 concerns. AEW announced that Scorpio Sky was exposed to someone with the virus within the past 2 weeks, and while they said that his test was negative, company officials have decided to postpone his match against Shawn Spears tonight as a precautionary measure. AEW released the following statement. They said, quote, "Through contact tracing, AEW learned Scorpio Sky was exposed to someone with COVID-19 within the last 14 days. An initial test was negative, but AEW has decided to postpone tonight's scheduled match." So no update if we're going to see Shawn Spears face someone else instead, but we know that the match between Scorpio Sky and Shawn Spears is off tonight, which sucks. Another interesting thing that came out about Full Gear is that Orange Cassidy versus John Silver of the Dark Order was previously scheduled for the buy-in pre-show for Saturday night's Full Gear pay-per-view, but it's been moved to the main card. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan appeared on the Busted Open radio show a couple of days ago, or was it today? I don't know. The days are all merging into one because they're crazy right now. But he did reveal that the match had been moved to the main card and he was in negotiations for a new pre-show match. That pre-show match has already been announced because just a mere hours, I guess, or maybe even a day after Allysin Kay revealed that her NWA contract had expired and she was a free agent, it's now been announced by AEW that during the buy-in, NWA World Women's Champion, the new NWA World Women's Champion, Serena Deeb, defend the NWA World Women's Championship against Allysin Kay. So it's the former NWA World Women's Champion facing off against the current NWA World Women's Champion. Interesting and very excited for that one. I'm interested to see that the NWA World Women's Championship continues to be a fixture in AEW. I'm excited because I think the quality of the female match there is going to be very good, and that's what we haven't really been seeing in AEW. These are two talents that AEW needs to be looking at in terms of, okay, that's the talent we need to aspire to. Now, Serena Deeb obviously has signed an AEW contract. She's a member of the AEW roster. No word as of yet what the state is of Allysin Kay when it comes to AEW. As I mentioned, her NWA contract has just expired. So I would think it's a given. I mean, it's an easy toss-up there for AEW. If Allysin Kay comes on the market, someone with the quality of Allysin Kay, you sign her. You sign her. Everyone knows the failings. I'll be honest, the failings of the AEW Women's Division. It's the low point of the show. I don't think that's anything to do with talent. I've made quite a few videos on this now. I think the reason that the AEW Women's Division has struggled is because of the booking. How can you expect your women's division to thrive when you have one 5-minute match per Dynamite? You only have one storyline going on at a time when it comes to the women's division. You just don't invest time into it. It's not about investing money. It's not about investing talent. It's about investing time. And the idea that the AEW Women's Division could main event an episode of Dynamite, or let alone a pay-per-view, is so far off the cards because it's not a priority for AEW right now. But signing someone like Allysin Kay is exactly what AEW needs to do. I think Serena Deeb and Allysin Kay will have a fantastic match at Full Gear. My only question is, and I don't want to be the person that just complains about everything, but my only question is when it comes to Serena Deeb versus Allysin Kay Saturday at Full Gear is why does it have to be in the buy-in? Why does it have to be on the pre-show? What, because we've already got one women's match on the show? Because we've got Hikaru Shida defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Nyla Rose? Or we can only have one women's match per show, right? Because the world will explode, or AEW will explode. Why not? I mean, there are plenty of matches, to be honest. And again, not wanting to be harsh to Orange Cassidy, or not wanting to be harsh to Orange Cassidy or John Silver, but I would easily and much prefer to have the match between Orange Cassidy and John Silver on the buy-in, and I'd rather have two women's matches on the show. Have Serena Deeb and Allysin Kay. Make a statement, AEW. Actually, promote some women's wrestling for once, Maybe do something like that. Brian says you can scrap the NXT AEW ratings tonight. Trump is about to lose. Well, obviously, that's the thing, isn't it? The ratings tomorrow aren't going to be pretty, without a shadow of a doubt. They're just not, because as Brian alluded to there, obviously we had the election yesterday, which is still ongoing tonight. There's more developments when it comes to that tonight. Whether or not we'll actually find out a winner tonight. Some people say we are, some people say we won't. All I know is that it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and as it should be, to be honest. It's democracy, so it should be everywhere. It's all over the news. It's all over everything. So, the ratings aren't going to be good for Dynamite or AEW. I still expect AEW to beat NXT because I think they've got more of a loyal fan base, a younger fan base. So we're going to see, I think AEW will once again win in the total viewership, and as always, they'll win in the demo. But as Brian makes reference to there, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be setting any records because everyone is watching cable news, network news. Everyone is just obsessed with when it comes to the election. So that's the case. But we're just about to go live for AEW Dynamite pre-show before the go-home show. Before we have the go-home show before Full Gear this Saturday. Very excited for that. So I'm interested. I'm very excited. I'm curious to see what AEW has in store for us before Full Gear on Saturday. As I mentioned, the go-home shows are usually pretty strong when it comes to AEW. There we go. We're opening the show with Chris Jericho standing next to Dasha Gonzalez and Jake Hager and Santana. Chris Jericho looks like he's stolen one of Matt Hardy's old outfits. Jake Hager is being praised by Chris Jericho for winning his fight at Bellator this past weekend. Jake Hager is sporting some black eyes. I mean, his face got pretty messed up during that fight for Bellator. But MJF and Wardlow have interrupted Chris Jericho once again already. That outfit. You mean, obviously Chris Jericho is in the news for his tweet that he made. Any coincidence he's wearing a giant red suit tonight? I mean, I'm just saying. One could definitely draw some parallels there, or some suggestions that Chris Jericho, considering the tweets that he was liking, the tweets that he was supporting, is still is wearing a big red suit. Optimine says, "Yep, Jake had quite the brawl. He's tough. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. People forget about Jake Hager. Before he came into WWE, he was a legitimate All-American wrestler from Perry, Oklahoma. The guy's legit, and he's built for MMA. You know, if you're a good wrestler when it comes to MMA, that's half the battle done. That's half the battle done." Chris Jericho's just called MJF soft, and MJF has said, "Soft, just watch." Chris Jericho is stealing Enzo Amore's gimmick now. I hope that's not like a subtle tease that Enzo Amore is coming into AEW. Man, I'd end the stream right now and jump out of the building. Don't want to see that again. But here comes Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is making his entrance because Chris Jericho is on commentary tonight, as I mentioned. Interesting to see what the crowd response would be for Chris Jericho. I mean, the problem is I don't want to get political. I really don't want to get political because it's pro wrestling. It's not a place for politics. Although, I suppose, this will be as political as I get tonight. Chris Jericho's making an entrance. I was wondering, what will the reaction be from the crowd? Will they turn on him? But then I remembered this is Florida. So, obviously, they won't turn on him. Florida. And it's an AEW crowd. They're all singing Judas. The wrestlers are singing Judas. The crowd are singing Judas. The paid crowd, I guess, are singing Judas. I understand the safety that you could have by attending, but I mean, I would still be, that's just me, I'd still be hesitant. But I suppose maybe it's different in Florida. Yes, it is. It's worse. As the crowd obviously singing Judas, Judas in my mind, as the music has just been shut off, and Chris Jericho makes his way to the announce desk to join Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone on commentary. That is one wild outfit being worn by Chris Jericho there. Jericho is referring to the crowd as the Jerichoir. Although it's interesting, isn't it? Because Jim Ross mentions that he hates the 3-man booth and he prefers the 2-man booth. Obviously, historically, him and Jerry Lawler. When Chris Jericho's in, it's a 4-man booth. That is a lot of voices. That is a lot of voices going on at one time, is it? Or is it not? But MJF is making his entrance with Wardlow right now. Chris Jericho, by the way, I didn't mention it just then, but he enters, he sits down at the announce desk, says, "Oh, I'm here to join Schiavone," and Schiavone just for some reason doesn't speak. And Chris Jericho just says to him, "Are you awake, Schiavone? Are you actually, I mean, you're close to poking him with a stick to check if he's still got a pulse or whatever. Not that's how you check anyone with a pulse." But it got quite a belly laugh from Jim Ross. Got a fair bit of emotion there by good old JR, which you always like to see. But here we go. The Inner Circle is about to make their entrance. It's an odd pairing. It's an odd pairing of having Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. I would wonder why you have Ortiz and Guevara and not Santana and Ortiz. Ortiz has just picked up Sammy Guevara on his shoulders. So that's a unique entrance, I guess, for them. Big fan of Ortiz as well. I think he's got a ton of charisma, just an absolute ton of charisma. I think a lot of people had an issue when Santana and Ortiz first debuted in AEW that some of Ortiz's selling was over the top. I thought some of those statements were absolutely ludicrous. They just were. They said, "Oh, I hate that he does over the top selling." Well, Ric Flair is the Flair flop, so they need to say that. But MJF starting off the match here with Sammy Guevara. Well, he was going to, but he tagged out and tagged in Wardlow. So now it's Wardlow starting off with Sammy Guevara. Interesting that we have a heel match where it's not going to be Wardlow starting off with Sammy Guevara. It's going to be Wardlow starting off with Ortiz. Both guys already tag out immediately. We have the powerhouses, I guess, of Wardlow and Ortiz starting it off. Side headlock by Ortiz, but thrown into the corner by Wardlow. Wardlow is just, I mean, impressive is an understatement. The guy is built like a brick, you know what house. I mean, he is going to be a massive, massive star in AEW. He really, really is. I think the relationship between Wardlow and MJF, oh my god. Wardlow just absolutely slammed Ortiz to the ground. My word. I think the relationship between Wardlow and MJF does remind me absolutely of the Batista Triple H. The Batista Triple H relationship. And I just think eventually we're going to get, aren't we? We're going to get, obviously, Wardlow and the MJF splitting up. They've teased it a couple of times in AEW. I'm glad they didn't go with it at the time. I thought it was way too soon. But eventually, I think we are going to get the Wardlow MJF split. And when they do, I'd like to see it as not MJF turning on Wardlow. I want to see Wardlow have enough of the loudmouth, the bullying, the pompous, snobby MJF, and just have enough. And again, it could be the Batista Triple H moment, couldn't it? You know, the Batista bomb through the table. You know, you don't have to do that spot specifically, but I think that's a parallel there. As Wardlow is in the ring right now with Ortiz. Wardlow just, I mean, the guy's too strong. The guy's absolute too strong. MJF's in the ring though now. Looks like he doesn't have that ridiculous tan that he had against Jon Moxley at AEW All Out in the summer. Do you remember that? My oh my. He came out and the dude had overdone it. He had overdone it with the fake tan. It was something else. Brian says, yeah, but Jericho's TV gold. Right, you don't have to. You're preaching to the choir when it comes to Jericho. I'm the biggest Jericho fan around. I think Jericho for me is the reason that AEW has been successful the first 18 months it's been existing. Without Chris Jericho, it doesn't have that air of legitimacy that it does with Chris Jericho. There is no doubt, and can't question what Chris Jericho has added to the business and added to AEW and how entertaining he is. The guy is so entertaining. I think he's doing the best work of his career in AEW right now. And one tweet doesn't change that. It doesn't. It just, you know, when you see stuff like that, you just go, oh, Chris, why'd you have to? But MJF is working over Ortiz right now. Sammy Guevara, I don't even think he's been able to get into this match yet as MJF tags in Wardlow. Wardlow looks to continue to work over the arm of Ortiz as Jericho and JR are reminiscing about Jake Hager's victory for Bellator and at Bellator over the weekend. Now, I must admit, I didn't see the fight. All I saw was the aftermath of the fight. The black eyes, the swollen face. Looked like a hell of a fight. And credit to Jake Hager for being able to balance a pro wrestling career with a legit MMA career. That is not easy to do. That is not easy to go through fight camp and wrestle at the same time. So you have to give credit to Jake Hager. As I mentioned, the guy is a legitimate athlete. He is a legitimate All-American wrestler, hybrid athlete. I'm surprised that it's taken him this long to get into MMA because Ortiz nearly whipped MJF into Wardlow on the apron there. Once again, teasing that. Eventually one day, there's an enziguri though by Ortiz to MJF who tags in Wardlow, but Wardlow prevents Ortiz making the tag to Guevara. But he does anyway, stamps on the foot of Wardlow and taps in Sammy Guevara. Step up enziguri by the Spanish God. There's a couple of knee strikes, but it does nothing to Wardlow. Wardlow catches a pump kick, but then a super kick by Sammy Guevara. Nice. MJF's tagged in though. Here we go. MJF and Sammy Guevara. This could be a world championship match in a couple of years' time. Mark my words. Sammy Guevara's on fire here. Hot tag, slingshot into the ring. Springboard, crossbody. Takes out both MJF and Wardlow. Very nice indeed. Sammy Guevara's going to do a dive to the outside of the ring. Suicide. Oh my god. Corkscrew tope suicida to MJF. A bit of a Frosby flop kind of move to Wardlow. What a hot tag this is by Sammy Guevara. He's on fire. Guevara is going to go for, almost a bit of a lumbar check kind of move there. Kick to the kidneys. MJF kicks out at 2. Very close. Sammy Guevara is something else. Something else. Wow. What a hot tag that was by Guevara. That reminded me of Seth Rollins. There was a period of time with Seth Rollins in the Shield. Those 6-man matches. Seth Rollins had the hot tag down to a T. He would come in, suicide dive, hit everyone on every corner of the ring. It was awesome. Daniel Bryan got a great hot tag too. Ortiz, though, hits a drop kick to Wardlow there. MJF standing on the second rope. Oh! Kick to the already injured arm of Ortiz. MJF and Ortiz in the ring right now. Ortiz is going for the Salt of the Earth. Fujiwara armbar, doesn't get it. Here we go. Ortiz has just clotheslined Wardlow out the ring. Ortiz has gone out too, though. And it's Sammy Guevara and MJF left in the ring right now. Here we go. We got a bit of a face-off between MJF and Guevara. Of course, Sammy Guevara does not want MJF in the inner circle. Oh, wow, that was amazing by MJF. Oh, no, but hip up by Sammy Guevara. I don't even know how to call this. Some of the athleticism is insane. Awesome. Sammy Guevara went to get a kick. MJF caught it, flipped over, backflip by Guevara. MJF said, I've had enough of this flip stuff, and just thumb to the eye. That's my finger. Thumb to the eye, whatever you want to call it. Guevara, though. Here we go. Guevara hits GTH. My, well, my. What a move. Here we go. Wardlow breaks up at 2 count. You can see Aubrey Edwards is waiting for Wardlow to get in the ring. She's giving it 1, 2. Ring. Guevara and Ortiz with Wardlow. Knee to the face by Guevara. Bulldog by Ortiz. Sammy Guevara standing or running shooting star press. Always makes me nervous that they're never going to hit that, but he does. And a senton by Ortiz. How quick is this match? The pace of this one is absolutely incredible. If you're enjoying this one, smash a like on the like button. Super chats are still open tonight, by the way. Click the $ in the live chat. Any donations to the channel are very much appreciated. But MJF's been put to the top rope here by the inner circle. Looking like we're going to go for, is it a bit of a double superplex? Wardlow's walking over. I think we're going to get a bit of a Tower of Doom here. Here we go. Powerbomb combination into a superplex Tower of Doom by Wardlow. The man is absolute jacked. Wardlow drags MJF to the corner. Looks like he's going to tag himself in here. Here we go. Wardlow picking up Ortiz. Going to go for a bit of an F5 or is it an F10? F10. Ortiz with a rough landing. Landed on the side of his knee. Aubrey Edwards into position. Here we go. Was broken up by a frog splash by Sammy Guevara. Great match so far to open up Dynamite. Really enjoying this one. In comes MJF. Thrown outside the ring by Guevara. Guevara's going to go springboard. Oh my God. Springboard 450 almost turned into an axe handle. That's absolutely insane by Sammy Guevara. The guy is an absolute freak athlete. Sammy Guevara went to high-five Serpentico, but then he flipped him off. He gave him... Oh, Serpentico. It's not with Serpentico. It's Matt Hardy. It's Matt Hardy who just threw a steel chair into the face of Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara saw Serpentico, was going to give him a high five, flipped him off. Obviously, we know the history of Sammy Guevara dressing up as Serpentico. MJF's locked in the Salt of the Earth armbar, and Ortiz has tapped out. So MJF and Wardlow have won this opening tag team match. What a tag team match. Man, what a start to AEW Dynamite this was. That was great. Really enjoyed that. Great pace. Great, just flowed really great. Obviously, people will have the issues with the tag team psychology of it. The tag team psychology really sucked, if I'm going to be really honest. Doesn't matter, though. Loved it. Great opening. Great pace. Wardlow and MJF winning makes sense. Of course, they're not going to win. They're not going to lose. Especially before Saturday with MJF facing Chris Jericho. Really enjoyed the little interaction there by Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. That feud is continuing. Oh my God! MJF has just speared Chris Jericho through the backdrop of the commentary position there. My God. Jake Hager is now pulling MJF off of Chris Jericho. Man, that came out of nowhere. Chris Jericho was speared through the AEW and TNT sort of sign behind the commentary position by MJF. And now Saturday we have MJF versus Chris Jericho. This match just got raised a notch. Chris Jericho, MJF. What I really hope is that this isn't a one-time deal. I really, really hope Chris Jericho versus MJF, that needs to be a long-running feud. Yes, we start off with the will I join the inner circle deal. That's a stipulation for Saturday. And yes, they're playing on will they be friends. What we really need is for MJF to win and then infiltrate the inner circle and rip it apart from the outside. I think that's the direction this feud needs to go in. It needs to be more than just a one pay-per-view deal. But, well, what an opener that was. If you enjoyed that opener, smash a like on the like button because that was a lot of fun. Brian says, I just love how AEW starts the first match without an ad break. I totally agree. It's one of the biggest, most annoying things with WWE. You have 3 or 4 ad breaks per match. And I get pro wrestling. It's a work, right? We all know it's a work. But it doesn't mean that you have to try and take me out of the suspension of disbelief. As AEW commentary team of Excalibur, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone running us through the card. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, we have Pac breaking his silence tonight. Also have Miro versus Trent, which is coming up next. I thought I would have made a graphic for that, but obviously I haven't. I'm disappointed myself. But we have Miro versus Trent next. Manos says, hello there. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for joining us tonight. We have Tony Schiavone earlier today chatting with Kenny Omega and a dog. Legitimately a dog. I'm not being offensive. Apparently, it's not even Kenny Omega's dog. Whose dog is it then? Dogs ran off. Odd. Kenny Omega says he's relocated to Jacksonville temporarily to focus for the tournament. Of course, he's in the final facing Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear. We all know that was coming. But this has been the return of the cleaner. This has been Kenny Omega turning back into the cleaner that we love and know from New Japan. So I'm very excited to see this version of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega needs to be champion in AEW, to be honest. It's inevitable. To be honest, it's crazy it's taken nearly 18 months. Kenny Omega ain't the world champion in AEW. This is one guy was the king of New Japan for a period of time. So the fact that he hasn't done a ton so far in AEW to me is crazy, but that's just the case. But I'm enjoying this slow descent as the cleaner is going to return. I want to see more heelness, shall we say, from Kenny Omega, but I do think that more heel side is coming, and that will come with his victory over Hangman Saturday at Full Gear. Because I think Kenny's going to win. But they're going through the highlights of Adam Page beating Wardlow, which obviously led him facing Kenny Omega Saturday at Full Gear. We are doing a Full Gear watch along, by the way. So if you want to watch Full Gear watch along with us on Saturday, best thing to do is subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Click that notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live Saturday night. So really excited for Full Gear. So if you want to watch it with us here at Wrestling News 365, just click that subscribe button. I'm putting up the live stream probably like Friday night, I would have thought, or Saturday morning. Here we go. We're having the entrance for Trent of the Best Friends, who of course is facing Miro, up next on Dynamite. What I really do enjoy, and Brian made a great point about this, is that we are 21 minutes into the show at this point, and we still haven't had a commercial break. I'm sure we will, probably about now. But you know, it's just so typical of sometimes pro wrestling. Just it's always commercials. Chris Jericho is still on commentary though, by the way, and his audio levels are all screwed up because of his fight with MJF. I thought Chris Jericho was just going to be on MJF, was just going to be on commentary for one point of the show, one segment, and once his feud with once his interaction with MJF was over. I thought that would be it for Chris Jericho, but it's not. It's not. Chris Jericho looks to be on commentary for the entirety of the show, which that ain't a bad thing. That ain't a bad thing at all. Manos says why they buried Lance Archer. Well, if you're familiar with me, familiar with the channel, you know I don't like to use the buried word. I think it's overused in pro wrestling, and sometimes as a community and wrestling fans, when we use the buried word, you get some dirt sheet writers or you get some people within the industry, because I've been a writer for various wrestling websites and spoken to people in the industry. When we use the buried word, people look down their nose at us as fans and go, "Oh, buried." I do think it's interesting the way that they've booked Lance Archer. I do agree with you there, because Lance Archer appears to me to be on this weird cycle when it comes to AEW, in the sense that he's a monster. He wins and wins and wins. He's built up as this big monster, big credible threat. Who can beat Lance Archer? Nobody can. Which leads him to a big match, maybe for a championship. Happened when he first came into the company, was the TNT championship. He gets to the big match, and then he gets toppled over and he loses. He lost to Cody for the TNT championship. They did the same thing with him again. They built him up. He beat everyone. He was dominant. He faced Jon Moxley for the world championship, and he lost. The issue is, when it comes to things like that, is you can only lose so many big matches, or us as fans and the casual fans start to view you as a guy that can't win big matches, and then you're not believable. It's difficult to be believable as a monster when every time you have a big match you lose. So Lance Archer, I'm sure, when it comes to his booking after his loss to Jon Moxley, will be booked up once again to be a big monster. He'll win matches. He'll dominate people, destroy people. There'll be backstage segments where he's beating the hell out of people, all of that fun stuff, but he has to win a big match. He has to win a big match eventually. So hopefully his next big match, whatever it is, he wins. I still think he'd be great as a TNT champion. I think there's absolutely potential for him to be a TNT champion. But I don't see Cody dropping the title again anytime soon, as we're back on the air. And here comes Miro about to make his entrance. The best man, of course. As I mentioned, really hate how this match or feud come together. Really hate it. Miro's making his entrance with pyro and all. I mentioned this before when it comes to Miro. I was stunned. He does that big pose as he starts off, and it never got pyro in WWE. It seems like such a natural place for it to get pyro. Either way, they're showing how the match was started, or this feud was started on Dynamite a couple of weeks ago, where Trent broke Kip Sabian's amazing arcade machine. So yes, we're actually having a match, or at least a mini feud over someone breaking a video game arcade machine. I think the baby boomers right now are turning in their graves, even if they're not dead, watching this. I don't get how or why you should start a feud or even lead to a match over a breaking of a arcade machine. It is one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. Justin Roberts is doing an introduction like this is a world championship match. Why is he doing a serious intro for this? Justin Roberts is doing an intro like this is for the AEW World Championship, which I really don't understand. Why is Justin Roberts doing an intro like this? I mean, I get it's... Oh. And maybe this is why. Miro's taken the microphone. Miro says that Trent is stupid, he's ignorant, and Trent's mum didn't teach him any manners, and Trent's had enough and a drop kick and attacks Miro. So maybe that's why they had Justin Roberts doing that really bizarre announcement, like Miro was a championship in himself. Very odd. Very odd. Trent went for a tornado DDT. Miro just mid-air catches him. Kick to the face by Trent, though. Trent's going to go to the top, but Miro pulls him off, and Saito suplex. Nice. Nice. And Miro, man, he looks in absolutely phenomenal shape. I mean, you can't doubt that. I mean, looks to be in the shape of his career. I think his looks great. Not sure about the camo ring gear, but regardless, the guy is absolutely jacked. He's world champion potential in AEW. He absolutely is world champion potential. So why on earth are we starting a feud with him and Trent over a broken video game? It's just ridiculous. I said it's Chris Jericho spilling coffee on Kane. It's starting a feud between Booker T and Edge over a Japanese shampoo commercial. And then on the same level, we have Trent and Miro starting off and having a match because Trent broke an arcade machine that Miro gave to Kip Sabian, who's getting married to Penelope for. He's not even a real best man. I know it's a storyline. I know it's a work. But we're actually, genuinely, we're starting off a feud or having a match because you broke my game. I mean, seriously. Yes, maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but it's very frustrating. Like logic sometimes. I mean, again, I get it. Miro and Kip Sabian, they're gamers, they're Twitch streamers. It wasn't even a game with a disc or whatever. I get it if he broke his console or he actually broke his, or if he broke his controller. That's what that is, controller. I get that, or maybe he cut his internet for his Twitch. But it's like a stand-up arcade video game. We're in like the 1980s. Incredible. Brian says Miro is just waiting for Call of Duty Cold War Warzone next week. Doing years, seriously. Manos says, are you a fan of WWE video games? Not for a long time. I think the last video games that I played, Chuck Taylor's attacking Kip Sabian on the outside now. Both guys are brawling to the back, so it looks to be just Miro and Trent one-on-one in the ring. WWE video games, when Penelope Ford, she's confronting Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy's doing so well after his feud with Chris Jericho. They built up that guy. He beat Chris Jericho. At one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. AEW All Out. It's arguably AEW's WrestleMania, maybe Double or Nothing. But he beat Chris Jericho. He beat Chris Jericho twice. And now Orange Cassidy's, what's he doing? He lost to Brody Lee? Doing anything. So strange. But we'll get to your point, Manos, about WWE video games. I think the last games that I played for WWE was like SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Whatever was the last one to have GM mode on there. I used to play GM mode, SmackDown versus Raw. I think 2008 had GM mode with Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. If you were ECW, you were never winning that. Possible. Used to play that. I mean, I'm so old at this point that I was playing. First WWE game that I played was SmackDown on PS1. The first SmackDown on PS1. Best game. I know people will say, shut your mouth, SmackDown, shut your mouth, or SmackDown, here comes the pain. For me, best wrestling game. People will say No Mercy Nintendo 64. They would be right. But the best wrestling game is SmackDown 2. SmackDown 2 PS1 was the first proper wrestling game that I really played. And it was awesome. My mum used to work in one of those like video stores, like video DVD rental stores. And when I was a kid, I used to be able to go in there. And because this was the time that like the PlayStation and the PS2 was just coming out, so we get all these weird games in there. And I used to go in there, and that's how I got the games like SmackDown 2, SmackDown Just Bring It, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain. I remember being so obsessed with WWE video games at one point that SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, I first played that by getting a demo in a gaming magazine. There was a gaming magazine, again, it's how old I am, that I saw in a shop, and it said that you take this disc home, put it in your PS2, and it's just a demo of the game. You could only do like an exhibition match between like 4 superstars. I bought the magazine just to play the demo, and I must have played that game like forever, and it was just a demo. So I mean, I used to play all the WWE games back in the day. Now, I think as you get older, you maybe play less games, and they are genuinely not as good as they used to be. I know everyone says that about games when they get older, but genuinely they are not as good as they used to be. So, Brian says an AEW video game next week. Yeah, AEW is teasing that they're going to be releasing a video game. Well, they've been saying ever since they've been existed. Kenny Omega specifically, we all know his relationship with video games. so sinister. They've been saying for ages that they are doing an AEW video game, but this week we actually got a proper tease for it. It was hashtag AEW Games. I think there's a Twitter account to follow, AEW Games, and there's a date. I can't remember off the top of my head what the date is, but there is a date that AEW is going to be releasing some gaming information about, I guess, their upcoming video game, whatever that may be. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that because, to be honest, the bar when it comes to video games, in professional wrestling video games right now, is very low. Was last year the 2K20 disaster when it comes to WWE? That game was so bad that it made lists. Realistically, a WWE video game doesn't really get that much attention. It shouldn't, because it's just essentially the same every year. It was so bad, it was making like legitimate gamers and legitimate gaming websites, gaming YouTubers, it was making their list of the worst games of the year because it was so bad, it was so glitchy. Some of those videos that we saw on social media were hilarious. I mean, it was hilariously bad. It was unbelievable. As we're back from commercial. So I maybe might get the AEW game. If it's any good, then you never know. But at this point, I'm so, when it comes to wrestling, I'm more fascinated in booking and all that sort of stuff. That's why I love the GM mode on the old WWE games. As we see during the commercial, Penelope Ford slapped Orange Cassidy. Off come his glasses. He put in his, he was going for the hands in the pockets routine, but Orange Cassidy was attacked by Alex Reynolds, John Silver, 10, I think, as well. Obviously, they'll be, Orange Cassidy is going to be facing John Silver, rather, this Saturday at Full Gear. As we have Miro with a bear hug on Trent in the middle of the ring. Manos says, SmackDown, here comes the game. Here comes the game. Here comes the pain. Was the best by far. I didn't mind that game, to be fair. I didn't mind that game. It also has the best intro. That intro, I want it all for SmackDown, is actually my favourite intro. So I will give you that. I will give you that. That is a pretty badass intro, and not a bad game whatsoever. As the Trent and Miro match is still ongoing right now. Trent looks to be blowing pretty hard, but nothing's happening. Trent with a couple of clotheslines, but Miro ain't moving. Miro goes for a splash in the corner, but misses. And now another clothesline. It does knock down Miro. Here we go, but only a 1 count. Barely a 1 count. Miro powering straight out. I mean, obviously, Miro should win this match, and I think he will. I'd be stunned if in his AEW singles debut, Miro loses to Trent, who is a tag team wrestler. I think social media would be very angry. Angrier than usual. But a couple of chops here by Trent. Fighting back to Miro. If you're enjoying this AEW Dynamite episode so far, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be also sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Click that notification bell. Notified every time we go live for a watch along and we post new videos, which we do daily, by the way. Here we go, face to face with Trent and Miro. Slaps, ducks a kick. Trent, oh, nice suplex by Trent. A bit of a version of a dragon suplex. Here we go, Trent setting up for the knee strike. Incredible that Trent's bandana refuses to move as well. Went for the knee strike. Miro catches him. Oh, the strength. Bang. Version of a sort of standing sidewalk slam. Incredible. Trent kicks out at 2, though. And Miro is just, man, I said it looks great. It's great. The guy's a powerhouse. The guy's, that was always, I think, a criticism of Rusev early on in his WWE career during the whole Russian gimmick, is that, you know, he looked like a powerhouse, but I mean, wasn't exactly a body guy, I would say. You know, he had his shorts pulled up to his chest almost. I used to like it when he wrestled barefoot, but he injured his ankle. He wears boots now. Here we go. Machka kick. Ducks over though. Trent rolls through. Kicks out though. Kicks out at 2. Well, Miro good for a clothesline. He's gone to the outside of the ring though. Like Trent's going to go for a dive, I think, here. Here we go. Trent off the ropes. Here we go. Dive over the top. Jumps right onto Miro on the outside. Manos Manos says at the end of 2020, a second show is coming to TNT. Yeah, absolutely, it is. Tony Khan has confirmed that, and it's not AEW Dark. It's a different show. Whether it's a wrestling show or more of a promo show, we'll have to wait and see, though. Tornado DDT spikes. Absolutely spikes Miro right there. Here we go. I think he doesn't go for the pinfall. I think Trent's going to set up for a knee instead. Here we go. Goes for that running knee. Hits it. It's going to be it. No way. Miro, ooh, kicks out at 2. For a second there, he thought it. But we have the second match of the show, and we already have someone kicking out the finish. Yes. Trent, though, he's going to the top rope. Again, another great match on Dynamite, but to be honest, that's to be expected. I think every match on Dynamite, to be honest, is always very, very good. Go Trent, springboard. Oh, he tripped on the top rope. Machka kick right to the face. Now, was the slip intentional, though? I don't think it was. Slipped on the top rope. Here we go. Miro's going to lock in. Camel clutch, previously known as the Accolade. Camel clutch, and Trent taps out. So Miro wins on his AEW singles debut. That man's going to be a world champion in AEW. Mark my words. He's locked in the Accolade again after the bow. And out comes Chuck Taylor, though. Chuck Taylor's attacking Miro from behind. Kip Sabian, though, is going to meet him in the ring. Here we go. Kip Sabian attacks Chuck Taylor. And I'm guessing we're going to get a tag team match at some point. Oh, drop kick in the corner by Kip Sabian. And throws Chuck Taylor to the outside. Miro's rolling to the outside, though. Miro doesn't look to be done. Here we go. Miro's attacking Chuck Taylor and Trent. Stomps to both of them. Miro's going for something, or he's got the microphone. Here we go. Miro isn't over just yet. Got to say. Miro says that Trent has no manners and it's because of his mother, but behind him, Orange Cassidy is on the top rope. Here we go. Hands in the pocket and falls onto Miro and Kip Sabian. Orange drop onto Miro and Kip Sabian. Miro is being restrained by Kip Sabian here, so this feud doesn't look to be over. I tell you what, if it led to a match, if this match led to a match of the quality of that parking lot fight between the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz, then I'm down for that. I wasn't the biggest Best Friends fan, and to be honest, I still, I'm not massive on the whole comedy deal. But that match, that parking lot fight they had with Ortiz and Santana, that made it one of the best matches of AEW this year. I think the best match has to be the Bucks versus Omega and Page back at Revolution, which feels like a million years ago. But that match was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. As we go to a backstage segment with Jim Ross and Hangman Adam Page. Page has got his traditional glass of whiskey. Wherever they're shooting this, pretty nice place. I'm assuming it's at Daly's place. And a bit of a VIP booth or something like that. Hangman is wearing his cowboy style shirt. That is one out there shirt. Got red flowers, cowboy boots. Looking forward to Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. That's going to be show stealer on Saturday. I think looking at the card that we have, and it is a pretty damn stacked card. I think Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega is going to be pretty amazing. If I'm going to have to call it now, I am actually going to do a predictions video for Full Gear tomorrow. So maybe should I save my prediction? I'll give it now. Great thought, wasn't it? I think Kenny Omega is going to win. Because I think Kenny Omega is going to be the next AEW World Champion. I think the cleaner heel Omega is exactly what we need as World Champion in AEW, and I'm really excited for it, quite frankly. So I think Kenny Omega is going to win, but I do think Hangman Page will be a World Champion eventually, someday in AEW. I just think Kenny Omega is going to be the champion first, I must say. Only Wrestling says, Why does Brian Cage never defend his FTW championship? FTW championship could be like an ECW championship for AEW. I think he doesn't defend it that often because legitimately it's not a sanctioned championship. So he just defends it if and when he wants. They'll occasionally put it on the line to make a match feel more important, but it's like the $1 million championship essentially. Say, why did Ted DiBiase hardly defend the $1 million championship? Because it's not legitimate. It's not a championship that has to be defended. It's more of an ornament as opposed to a championship. I think that's the reason why. And also, you don't want to get too championship heavy on the show. Manos says, Lance Archer, no pay-per-view appearance again. I don't know what to tell you. He was challenging for the AEW World Championship a couple of weeks ago, though. But Chris Jericho is on commentary. He says that Kenny Omega is going to tear Hangman Page apart at the weekend. If Hangman Page goes into there inebriated or drunk, Jericho would know. But after the break, we're going to have the Young Bucks going up against Private Party. Of course, they're hyping this up as a rematch from, when was it, the first round of the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. That was over a year ago now. I think it was like the second episode of Dynamite or something like that. Absolutely crazy. But since then, they're acting like this is like a big rematch from that second round. But am I the only one that thinks? I'm pretty sure they've done that match since then, and I'm pretty sure the Bucks have won. I'm pretty sure the Bucks have redeemed themselves when it comes to that loss to Private Party over a year ago. So for them to say that, like, I'm pretty sure it's been done before. But regardless, I mean, it should be an absolutely fantastic tag team match. Young Bucks versus Private Party. You kidding me? What a fantastic match it's going to be. Question is the tag team psychology, and this one is going to be out of the window. I don't think we're going to get tag ropes, I must say, but it's going to be fun to watch. I thought that tag team match that opened the show between MJF, Wardlow, and Ortiz and Sammy Guevara was an absolute show stealer. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. What a way to open the show there. Really enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. Great pacing, and I'm sure we'll get more of that in Young Bucks versus Private Party match. If you are new to the channel, if you're enjoying this episode of Dynamite, I must say, and if you're excited for the Young Bucks Private Party, be sure to smash a like on the like button. If you are new to the channel though, be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We do live watch-alongs for Monday Night Raw, Wednesday Night Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown. We're doing a Full Gear watch-along on Saturday. So if you want to join us to watch AEW Full Gear, have a bit of an alternate commentary, chat in the live chat, join the Wrestling News 365 community, just click the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live for our watch-alongs. But we also do daily videos talking all things AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, anything in the pro wrestling news sphere we talk about here on the channel. So be sure to subscribe. You won't miss a single video. Let's check how many subscribers we are doing right now. Let's set a target for tonight or something like that. That'll be a lot of fun. Interesting what the ratings are going to be for Dynamite tomorrow, because as was mentioned previously, I don't think a lot of people are thinking about pro wrestling or Dynamite or anything like that tonight, or NXT. I think they're pretty much thinking about something else that might be going on in the country right now. Nevertheless, I'm enjoying this episode of Dynamite so far. A lot of fun. Currently at 1,140 subscribers. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed for the first time. Thank you to everyone that has been subscribed. If you're one of those 1,140 subscribers, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Let's maybe aim for, I don't know, 1,145 tonight, if that's possible. Might be impossible. Who knows? I think, like I said, I think people might have other things on their mind tonight. But if you don't want to take your mind off the craziness in the world right now, you're always welcome to join us here as we watch AEW Dynamite, as we're just coming back from commercial, as we're seeing a promo package for Young Bucks versus FTR Saturday at Full Gear. Well, I've got some thoughts on this, but let's check the live chat first. Only Wrestling says, do you think Eddie Kingston has any chance against John Moxley? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be a great match. I think as an I Quit main event, it's going to be awesome. I'm super, super happy for Eddie Kingston that he's getting this chance in the spotlight. I think he's absolutely killing it. I think his promos are great. I think he's underrated in the ring. I think his style meshes really well with John Moxley. Physical style. I think Eddie Kingston has stepped up. This was a guy that people thought he'd, had his opportunities. Well, he never had a really big opportunity like this, but people thought that he was over the hill. Been in Ring of Honor, been in NWA, been in Impact. but he's stepped up and he's showing his greatness. But I don't think he'll beat Jon Moxley on Saturday. I'd be very, very surprised. But we're seeing this promo package of the Young Bucks versus FTR on Saturday. Now, this was the match. This was the match that everyone wanted to see for ages. When the FTR were in WWE as a Revival, everyone thought, oh, FTR, the Revival, facing the Young Bucks, that's the match everyone wanted to see. And as soon as FTR arrived in AEW, again, this was the match that everyone wanted and was excited to see. The Young Bucks versus FTR. And I would be lying if I said that I thought the build to this match was good. Because I think considering what we expect this match to be, and the fact that this match has been years in the making and years being built up on social media, I just don't know if I feel that this build has been everything it could be. I do think it could have been better. And I understand AEW have given the Young Bucks a bit of an edge. I understand that FTR. Here we go, and Taz is coming out here. Out comes Taz. Taz is out with Team Taz. He's out with Brian Cage, the FTW champion, and Ricky Starks. Taz is in his FTW orange hat. Telling the cameraman to get in the ring. Taz says for 3 hours he sat outside Tony Khan's office. Said he wanted 2 minutes of Tony Khan's precious TV time. Said that Tony Khan said that Tony Khan was busy working on people that were going to compete Saturday at Full Gear. He said he wouldn't talk to Taz backstage. Taz is talking about the AEW ranking system. Brian Cage is 10-1 and technically undefeated because the Mox match doesn't count. That's true. Brian Cage did not tap out or get pinned against Jon Moxley. Passed out. But Brian Cage being ranked as number... Talks about Brian Cage being ranked number 1 in the single system right now, which is absolutely true. Also talks about Ricky Starks. That's winning the last 10 of his 11 matches. He says that Ricky Starks isn't even ranked in the top 5. Taz says it's horse. You know what? Ricky Starks says every time he's given an opportunity, he hits a home run. Open Dynamite, he's closed Dynamite. Here's a good point. Why isn't Ricky Stark ranked? If he's won like 10 of his 11 matches, why isn't he ranked? Probably because those matches are nothing matches on AEW Dark. Ricky Starks is saying, why doesn't Brian Cage and Ricky Starks have a match at AEW Full Gear on Saturday? It's a good point. Again, very good point. Taz is talking about the Cody versus Darby Allin match this Saturday at Full Gear. Says it's going to be a great match. Calls both of them entitled, spoiled, and they say they get everything they want. Taz is throwing shade at Cody right now as well. Bit weird. Taz says that Cody's walking around with his great looks and chiseled body. Alright, Taz. Calm down. Bit envious. Taz says that right now, Team Taz is doing the work, but they're getting booked. Taz also says that this Saturday at Full Gear there will be an FTW presence, and he guarantees it. I must say, the Team Taz deal. It's an odd pairing. It's an odd pairing of Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, but it's a pretty interesting partnership, no doubt. I think Taz as a mouthpiece is great. He's awesome as a mouthpiece. I think that whole Taz hanging outside, that that Taz hanging outside uh, Tony Khan's office and only getting 2 minutes of his time is absolutely a reference to Vince McMahon. I mean, it is a total reference to Vince McMahon because you hear the stories, don't you? We've heard all of those stories about WWE superstars, regardless of your tenure, hanging outside Vince McMahon's office for 2 hours and not being able to talk to him or only getting his attention for like 2 seconds or anything like that. That whole promo by Taz is a jab at Vince McMahon of sitting outside his office in WWE and hardly getting any of his time. So I don't mind that reference. Oh, here we go. Matt Hardy came out with Private Party, and Sammy Guevara just attacked Matt Hardy. He said a twist of fate on Matt Hardy on the entrance ramp. And Sammy Guevara is now doing a runner. He's gone. Sammy Guevara gets some payback there. Of course, Matt Hardy earlier on in the evening smashed Sammy Guevara in the face with his steel chair. He was dressed up as Serpentico in the crowd. But Sammy Guevara gets his payback there. Obviously, coming up next, we have the Bucks versus Private Party. Interesting promo there by Taz. Very, very interesting promo. As I mentioned, the more I think about it, that whole weird, I was waiting outside Tony Khan's office for 2 hours and I couldn't get his attention. And then Tony Khan comes out and says to me, someone comes out and says, TK's only working on people that are on the pay-per-view on Saturday. TK, again, it's a reference to when you get notes from VKM in WWE. VKM wants to see you right now, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So TK is a reference to that as well. And the whole deal is of sitting outside Tony Khan's office for hours and then not being worthy of his presence or not being able to get his attention. It's a total Vince McMahon jab. I'm sure social media will make reference of that, no doubt, no doubt. Enjoyed that promo though. And Taz says that FTW are going to have a presence on Saturday, so I wonder what that presence indeed will be. I wonder what that will be. I would suggest it's probably Brian Cage and Ricky Starks getting involved in the Darby Allin match against Cody for the TNT Championship on Saturday at Full Gear. I'm very excited to see a Cody versus Darby Allin match. Obviously, we had the match that still gets talked about today, really introduced Darby Allin to us in AEW when Cody and Darby went to that time limit draw at Fyter Fest in 2019. Since then, Cody has defeated Darby, I want to say at least twice. At least twice. I know he beat him in the TNT Championship tournament. I think he beat him again on Dynamite. So, Darby doesn't have the best record against Cody, which is obviously something to consider there. But if Team Taz is going to get involved, why not make it a fatal four-way? Go for it. I mean, we've seen Darby Allin versus Cody a couple of times. No doubt it would be a great match. It would be a great match again. But I wouldn't be against a four-way there. I'd enjoy that. Only Wrestling says AEW should sign EC3 ASAP. Well, I think he's going to be doing a few more shots of Ring of Honor. I did a video, obviously, on EC3 earlier today on the channel. Looks to, according to reports, that he's done with Impact Wrestling for the time being. I still think in his mind, his end game, his goal is to get to AEW, I think. Whether or not he does, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that's an aim for EC3. And I do think at some point we will see EC3 in AEW. I think it's a matter of time. Brian says, I just love AEW go-home shows. Everything is building with meaning. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They always do great go-home shows. Their angles and storylines peak at the right time, just before the pay-per-view. Although it was the AEW All Out Go Home show was a bit dodgy. It wasn't the best episode of Dynamite, I must say. I think it was that closing segment with MJF and Jon Moxley did not work. Manos says FTR love Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon wanted to dress FTR up as clowns. It's crazy. But here we are, we're back on Dynamite. Young Bucks are just about to make their entrance ahead of their match against Private Party. Chris Jericho still on commentary, of course. Before the break, Matt Hardy was hit with a twist of fate, his own finishing move by Sammy Guevara on the entrance ramp. Of course, is ahead of their match on Saturday, I believe. Isn't there? There's a not listed here, but I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. They're calling it the Elite Deletion match, so it's going to be cinematic. Wouldn't be surprised if, given that it's Wednesday, Thursday over here in the United Kingdom, I would assume that Sammy Guevara Matt Hardy match has already been shot in North Carolina because it is taking place at the Hardy compound. As we're seeing a couple of weeks ago, FTR's attack on the Young Bucks, as Cash Wheeler did the Pillmanizer on the leg, ankle of Matt Jackson. Again, I'm really excited for the Bucks versus FTR. No doubt it's going to be a great match. It's the match that everyone wanted to see, but if the was the storyline this far what I thought it would be? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Justin Roberts is doing his championship introductions again. Don't know why. Really don't know why. Doing like these matches like there's championships on the line. Jackson, the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson looks to be seriously sunburnt, by the way. Better than Chris Jericho's outfit tonight, man. Here we go. We have Mark Quinn and Nick Jackson starting this match. Bit of psychology there because, of course, Matt Jackson has the injured leg from FTR a couple of weeks ago. Chris Jericho saying his favorite moment from Young Bucks super kicking everyone is when they super kicked Tony Khan because he kicked Tony Schiavone's mustache off and he loved it. That's an Escalera arm drag by Nick Jackson. And now Nick Jackson is holding an arm bar from Mark Quinn. In comes Matt Jackson on that injured ankle, which he's already limping on. So they're claiming that he's already limping and now he's already tagged in his brother once again. Very strange. And he goes straight for a drop toe hold. I think his ankle might be fine if he's hitting a drop toe hold. As they are plugging the AEW Games special announcement, special event on Tuesday, the November 10th. I was getting confused with those American dates. But the Bucks are doing a suplex onto Isaiah Cassidy. And a pair of drop kicks to Private Party there by the Young Bucks. Young Bucks are going to go for stereo. There, dives to the outside. But again, they're playing up now the injury to Matt Jackson. Was it the wisest move to go for that dive to the outside on the injured ankle? Matt Jackson's already limping. Brian says, looks like Joe Biden is the next US president on my third monitor. Well, they still say, wasn't it? They say it's certainly leaning to him as the votes are still being counted. But we're watching AEW Dynamite here as Mark Quinn kick to the face of Matt Jackson. Springboard crossbody by Mark Quinn. Mark Quinn, by the way, incredible athlete. Absolutely incredible athlete. Drop kick by Mark Quinn as well. Nick Jackson tags himself in. In comes Nick Jackson and Mark Quinn. Tagged into Isaiah Cassidy. It was a Manhattan drop. And you just heard Nick Jackson go, oh my God. There we go. Cheese to the face. That's the move. Say cheese. Double hip toss to Matt Jackson onto Nick Jackson. Pair of drop kicks to the Bucks. Nick Jackson's on the outside. Matt Jackson rolls to the outside. And Private Party are standing tall in the middle of the ring. Chris Jericho says, never trust a man in tails, by the way. It's a good point. There we go. Crisscross Tope Suicidas by Private Party there onto the Young Bucks. Looks like the momentum going to Private Party here. So we're going to go for, there you go, stereo backdrop, Kip Up by Private Party. Only Wrestling says Matt Jackson looks like 3MB Drew McIntyre. I get that. Oh my God. Mark Quinn went to the top rope. Oh no, I think it was Isaiah Cassidy. Went to the top rope and Matt Jackson just pushed him off. And I mean, he did a senton flat back body bump onto the entrance ramp. Man, that had no give. Quick way to break a rib. That looked pretty damn painful, I must say. Mark Quinn's in the ring now. Isaiah Cassidy. Jeez Louise. There we go. Bulldog dropkick combination by the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson looks to be firing up a little bit here. Man, that bump by Isaiah Cassidy was something else. How does that not hurt? It's gotta hurt. If you're enjoying this match, smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right hand corner. Matt Jackson is setting up Nick Jackson. Mark Quinn's hanging over the ropes. Here we go, senton bomb. 2 count broken up by Isaiah Cassidy. Jackson though throws him to the outside of the ring. A bang kick to the face of Isaiah Cassidy on the outside there by Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson is just, I mean, athleticism that guy has, absolutely incredible. It really is. There we go, springboard drop kick. Oh man, nice. Mark Quinn. He went for the mounted driver, but Mark Quinn managed to counter into a reverse and a regular DDT. I haven't seen that move before. Mark Quinn, as I met, speaking of athletes, Mark Quinn and Nick Jackson, they are some athletes. Not to say that Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Jackson are not, because they really are. As we go to commercial, Manos says Donald Trump is going to be next Bobby Lashley manager. I don't think so. I don't think so. You know what though? I did see, and I did laugh and roll my eyes at it because I thought it was hilarious. Because it's no way the case, but it shows you sometimes with certain websites, you know, they'll see a report and be picked up. I saw an article. I won't say who it's by. You can go find it. But there was an article on, was it Wrestle Talk? And it basically said that Trump was going to be making some WWE appearances soon, regardless of the result in the election. I think someone there is a book that's been written, and it's on Amazon, and it's about Donald Trump's relationship with the WWE, the appearances he's made over the years, hosting WrestleMania, was it 5 and 6? 4 and 5, I think, at the Trump Plaza. And so they were interviewing this guy, and this guy basically says that regardless of the result of the election, Trump is going to be making some WWE appearances soon, because one, if he wins the election, he wants to, you know, get on every possible program and brag about winning the election. Two, if he doesn't win the election, he needs the money, so he'll be on WWE TV, and WWE wants the attention, I guess, even though they do not mention anything political because they know a lot of their base will turn on them. But I saw that and I thought, where's your source? There isn't one. It is literally just the guy who wrote that book, was appearing on a wrestling radio show and said, oh, I could see that happening. And then suddenly you get all these articles saying, oh, he's definitely going to be appearing on WWE TV. And it's like, he's not. He's not. He really isn't. So I think he's going to be a little bit busy. And if he doesn't win, which it looks like he won't, I think he's going to be very busy, especially in certain states. So I don't think he's going to be appearing on WWE. I don't think he's going to be the general manager of Raw, SmackDown, or anything like that. I don't think he's... The only wrestling says Donald Trump, the 24/7 champion. Maybe he'll take the bump that Gronk wouldn't at WrestleMania. Maybe Vince McMahon will have to chat him into it as well. I don't know, but I remember seeing that article and just thinking, what a load of rubbish. So, but we still got this match going on between the Young Bucks and Private Party. here on Dynamite right now. As picture in picture, we're still on commercial right now, but we can see Nick Jackson is doing one of his Northern Lights suplex. Manos says, it's so annoying that Alexa Bliss always wants to be on the spotlight. I don't know. Where did that come from? Manos is not an Alexa Bliss fan. I love me some Alexa Bliss. I think that stuff with the Fiend's great at the moment. We're back, though. Commercial, meeting of the minds for the Young Bucks. Mark Quinn still in the ring. It's a double Hurricane Runner. Wow. Pretty innovative there by Mark Quinn. Managed to tag in Isaiah Cassidy. Cassidy going for the hot tag. Springboard cutter to Matt Jackson over the top rope. Clothesline as well to Nick Jackson. Super impressive. Here we go. Irish whips reversed by Nick Jackson. Kick to the face, though, of Nick Jackson. Kick to the face, though, of Matt Jackson. Ducks the clothesline. Kick to the face once again. Here we go. Springboard. Bang. Blockbuster. Nice. Nice hot tag by Isaiah Cassidy. Private Party. I mean, if they could cut a promo. If Jericho's just said that Isaiah Cassidy reminds him of Will Smith. Can he say that? Can he say that? Jericho's walking a fine line there. A very fine line. Very, very... I mean, can you say that Isaiah Cassidy looks like Will Smith? I don't think he can. Anyway, back to the action in the ring. Isaiah Cassidy working over Nick Jackson here. Tags in Mark Quinn. Is that the wise thing? The guy's just been worked on for ages. Hits the hot tag and tags in his partner again. Oh, that was a nice drop toe hold into a pair of knees by Cassidy. Oh. Mark Quinn just did a moonsault off the back of Nick Jackson onto Nick Jackson. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen there. That was pretty crazy. As all the guys look pretty fatigued in this match so far. If you join this match, though, be sure to click a like on the like button. Nick Jackson hits a couple of forearms, goes to tag in his brother, but Matt Jackson is still working, favoring his ankle. Nick Jackson went to tag him in, realized his brother is still favoring the ankle, so he's decided, you know what, I'm going to try and save it. So he's going to try and fight it alone without Matt Jackson. Because Matt Jackson has a bad ankle, so I'm sure that storyline is playing in. Gin and Juice, that should be it. Gin and Juice, that should be it. It's going to be broken up, though, by Matt Jackson. Nice false finish there. Gin and Juice by the Private Party. Man, literally do enjoy Gin and Juice, but man, that finish is just something else. Matt Jackson's thrown to the outside of the ring by Isaiah Cassidy, though. Looks like we're going to get something crazy. I think we're going to get a Mark Quinn shooting star here, who has a very, very nice shooting star, I must say. Here we go. You're going to go for it. Shooting star. Oh, lands on his feet. That's incredible. Spear by Matt Jackson, though. Super kick to Isaiah Cassidy. And here we go. Kick to the face. Or Shining Wizard of sorts. Didn't really catch him. But that will... No, he kicks out. Oh. What a match. What a match. False finish after false finish. I must say, though, for a Bucks match, the psychology is actually relatively sound in this one. Matt Jackson is tag team. It looks like they're going to go for the Meltzer driver here. Here we go. Matt Jackson's got Mark Quinn up, though. Oh, roll through. Roll through. Oh, he rolls back through. Matt Jackson rolls through. Rolls through again by Mark Quinn. Oh, and he kicks out. Oh, what a match. Matt Jackson went for a super kick on the bad ankle. It was caught by Mark Quinn. Quinn staring at it. Oh my God. Super kick by Nick Jackson. The hesitation caught Mark Quinn there. And here we go. The Bucks are going to go for something here. Matt Jackson's been tied in. Here we go. BTE trigger. That should be it. Although Matt Jackson's favoring the ankle. And that's all she wrote as the Young Bucks get the victory in an excellent, excellent tag team match. But Matt Jackson still favoring that ankle. What a finish. What a finish to that match. Those last 5 minutes of the match were pretty incredible. Absolutely incredible. But the announcers are now hyping up whether it's worth the Young Bucks taking this match only a couple of days before Full Gear. Is Matt Jackson's ankle, leg going to be 100% before the pay-per-view on Saturday? The answer is no, of course it isn't. It's going to play in to the Full Gear pay-per-view match. Enjoyed that though. Great finish. Great. Oh, here come FTR. Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood. They're attacking the Young Bucks. Tully Blanchard's in the ring too with a steel chair. They're going to do it again. Here we go. Bang. Goodnight Express, previously known as the Shat Machine, of course. Goodnight Express by FTR to Matt Jackson. Tully Blanchard's got the chair, and it's looking like they're going to have another attack on the ankle with the steel chair by FTR. Cash Wheeler is standing on the ankle, already injured ankle of Matt Jackson. They've got it in the steel chair. Here we go. Pillmanizer Volume 2. They're laying the boots in. Dax Harwood is forcing Nick Jackson to watch. Here we go. Cash Wheeler is going to go to the top rope. He's taking his time. Just do it. Jeez. Here we go. Top rope. Going to break the ankle again. No one's going to stop him. Here we go. Going to do it. Oh, won't it? Here comes Hangman. I think Cash Wheeler was trying to stall because Hangman took about 1 million years to come out. But out comes Hangman. Of course, does have history with FTR. Says he feels manipulated. Well, out comes Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and the Bucks all in the same ring. Kenny Omega, though. Hangman's got a chair in his hand. Are we going to get some interaction? Hangman drops the chair. But we've got the Elite essentially in the ring. Obviously, at All Out, the Elite kind of dissolved. Well, at least Hangman was kicked out of the Elite, remember? Hangman was kicked out of the Elite by the Young Bucks. But Hangman was the one to make the save. So the Elite are in the ring. Oh, there we go. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page with a fist bump there. Maybe they're on the same page. But all four guys maybe on the same page. I own it, Hangman. Hangman then just spun Kenny Omega around. Even though they did the fist bump there, maybe they're not on the same page. Certainly a lot of tease. Kenny Omega's not heel yet. He's not full cleaner. He's getting there. He's getting there. Here we go. There's some tension going on. FTR are retreating with Tully Blanchard. Getting a stare down between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Obviously, they're facing each other. Kenny Omega's not full feel just yet. Interesting. Very interesting. Great match. Awesome, awesome match. Bucks get the victory. Post-match, it wouldn't be an AEW Dynamite without a post-match brawl with a load of people running in. I think Hangman Page was a bit late on his run in there. Took enough time to get to the ring, didn't he? My, oh my. Cash Wheeler was essentially doing the Hogan, give it that, because taking his time. He was waiting like, Hangman, any moment now, come out, jeez. But enjoyed that match. That match really was a lot of fun. Not only did I enjoy that match, but I enjoyed the post-match there. But that was fun. It certainly is a criticism of AEW on certain occasions that, and especially on these go-home shows, they do tend to favour the, we'll end the match and then we'll have a mass brawl. Mass brawl chaos with multiple run-ins. They love it. That is AEW 101. That is what they go to. It's their go-to angle. It's their go-to post-match angle. There was a period of time earlier this year, and I can't recall off the top of my head the exact time or the exact episodes. I'm not Rain Man, but there was a period of time earlier this year where I think like 3 or 4 episodes of AEW Dynamite in a row, every single episode ended. Oh, there's a mass brawl, big run-in, big fight, big brawl. All the time, especially when it was the Elite versus the Inner Circle stuff, which I didn't mind. I was a big fan of the Elite versus the Inner Circle stuff, but when they did that, it felt like every episode of Dynamite ended with just run in, brawl, run in, brawl, run in. This guy runs in, you run in, I have a brawl, and it got to the point where it just felt like every episode of Dynamite, without fail, we got this sort of long brawl with this running mass chaos brawl that every time you watched it, you thought, are they going to step up security at this point? Are they going to do something? Because you really do need to step up the security, because you're having these mass brawls every week on Dynamite at this point. But I won't lump in that segment that we just had on there. I did enjoy that match, the Bucks versus Private Party. Just seen it a couple of times, like I said already, and it's just they have great chemistry, great work. So enjoyed that match, enjoyed the post-match angle. Funny, they're showing a Full Gear ad as we're on commercial break right now, and you see the image of the Mike Tyson Chris Jericho brawl from Dynamite, and I made a video about it a long time ago now, speculating that the plan was to have Jericho versus Mike Tyson at All Out, and that was the plan. It was the plan. Chris Jericho's admitted it, but we couldn't get there because of Tyson's other commitments. But we're back from a commercial. Looks to me like we're going to have the face-to-face between Eddie Kingston Tony Schiavone introduces Eddie Kingston. Out comes the Mad King himself. This guy is on just such a roll. Such a roll. And here he comes. This guy is legit. He is a legit badass. He really is. He doesn't have the body, but he's real. He is real. And he, not only is he real, but he is... His promos, man, are something else. It looks like he's lost a bit of weight to me as well. To me, like he's lost a little bit of weight, because I think he's realizing, look, this is the shot of my career. Tells Schiavone to hold the microphone up. Tony Schiavone is introducing the AEW World Champion himself, Jon Moxley. As Jon Moxley, I'm guessing, is going to make his traditional entrance through the crowd. Now, we've heard that there is a mandate by TK himself, Tony Khan. There is going to be no violence tonight between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Otherwise, the match is off on Saturday. Jon Moxley music is playing, but there is no Jon Moxley. I'm excited for this match. I am excited for this match on Saturday. And here comes Jon Moxley, finally. The video, I remember seeing a video on Twitter. It might have been actually on Being the Elite. They showed the production truck and the director, Keith Mitchell, when they do this Jon Moxley entrance. No, it's weird when you watch a TV show. You assume it's super simple. Every time they cut camera angle, it's Keith Mitchell going 1, 3, go to 2, promo package, put the thing on the screen, bang. Crazy. Eddie Kingston just kicked Tony Schiavone out the ring and told Jon Moxley to have the music cut. He is face to face with Jon Moxley. He is face to face. I mean, they couldn't get any closer. I'm hoping they've got each other tested, because you shouldn't be that close to his nose. Eddie Kingston spitting fire, saying that he's not having talking about kids and grandchildren because of the AEW World Championship. Eddie Kingston's talking about selling out and becoming everything he hated to become world champion. That he's taken that championship from Jon Moxley at AEW Full Gear. This might be the Jon Moxley match as world champion that I'm looking forward to the most. And you think about his defenses: Brody Lee, Lance Archer, Jake Hager, MJF. The MJF feud didn't do it for me. I thought the build to it was terrible. Oh, election stuff. This is legit. This is real. It's interesting. Great promos. Two badasses. Jon Moxley's on the microphone right now. Jon Moxley talking about loyalty being burnt time and time again. We're getting into a real shouting match. Jon Moxley saying he was really happy for him. Eddie Kingston says, "Who cares?" Jon Moxley saying, "Shut up." Man, it's kicking off. Jon Moxley's brought up Eddie Kingston's mother's name, Ruthie. Says, "Don't bring up my mother's name." Eddie Kingston's turned his back on Moxley. And this is real. Kingston nearly dropped an F-bomb, by the way, there. They're talking about their history. He said that the loudest person in the room is the weakest person in the room. Led to a laugh from Eddie Kingston. So he said that Eddie Kingston isn't weak, so what's going on up there? Man, it feels real. It feels real. Eddie Kingston, this is his moment. He's not going to win on Saturday, but man, what a promo this is, and I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this match on Saturday. It's the Jon Moxley World Championship match I'm looking forward to the most, and it's Eddie damn Kingston that's making me excited for it. Jon Moxley's talking about this 18-year journey of Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's shaking. He's going to cry. Jon Moxley's talking about Eddie Kingston making a promise to his mother. And he says that Eddie Kingston made a promise to his mother that he can't keep. And no matter what Jon Moxley says, Eddie Kingston can't touch Jon Moxley. No violence, otherwise the match is off on Saturday. This is intense. Eddie Kingston says, "You'll have to kill me." Eddie Kingston is just, man, he is going for it. Eddie Kingston says, "You'll have to kill me." He was about to walk off, and he says, "This is real." He is screaming at Jon Moxley. He is screaming at him. "This is real. This is real. This is real." Eddie Kingston stormed off. Man, what a promo. What a segment. Now, that's a face-to-face. That is a real face-to-face. What a segment this has been. Jon Moxley said Eddie Kingston will find out he is not the man he thought he was, and he will say, "I quit." Man, that was awesome. That was awesome. That was, I mean, I went quiet a couple of times. Always trying the watch longs, keep talking, don't have dead air. You couldn't during that. You had to listen to everything that they said. Everything that they said. That was intense. That was real. I mean, I was hooked. I was hooked on everything that they were saying right there. I still don't think that Eddie Kingston will win. If you look at that promo, I don't know. There's something in me now. I'm lucky I didn't do the predictions for the full gear on Saturday until tomorrow. But here we go. We had this video. That's from Pac. We're going to get a promo from Pac. There he is, Pac. Sitting at home. Looks to be like he's still in Britain right now. Pac standing under a tree. But Pac sitting on his sofa there. We see a version of Pac in the background there. It's going to be the same thing we had. Looks to me like during the lockdown. That's a cool effect. Pac sitting on the sofa. There's multiple versions of Pac surrounding him. Jeez. Pac says the funny thing about isolation is you've got no one to play with. Pac's talking about 7 months being stuck on the wrong side of the Atlantic. But it looks to be just like a promo from Pac. Again, I mentioned I don't know where he is right now. Whether he's travelled over to the United States, I don't think he can. Pete Dunne did recently, so maybe Pac could. Pac saying he's stronger and faster than ever. Pac, one of the most jacked people. I mean, he is in ridiculous shape. It really, really is. That looks to be it. That was it. It was just a quick promo by Pac there. I'm not sure what I really expected from it, but to me, again, it just. I think if they're doing Pac promos, Pac vignettes, it says to me, there's got to be something there. There's got to be something there. Maybe Pac has finally travelled over to the United States. As I mentioned previously, he couldn't do it. Lockdown over here, travel to the United States couldn't happen. Now, obviously, those restrictions have changed slightly because you had Pete Dunne return to NXT last week, and he was in a similar situation to Pac. He was over here in the United Kingdom. He was at the NXT UK tapings. So I guess if Pac has come over at some point, he could theoretically be in the United States right now. I don't know if he is. I don't know the situation with Pac. If it's just a couple of vignettes, then they're disappointing, maybe. As I would maybe like to see more than just a couple of vignettes from Pac. But nevertheless, it was an interesting promo. I'm still thinking about that Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley promo. That face-to-face was something else. I gotta say, that was really something else. That was intense. That was real. And something in my head. There is something in my head right now that is making me think, previously I would have said Eddie Kingston doesn't have a chance. I said it earlier on in the stream. Eddie Kingston doesn't have a chance. I don't think Eddie Kingston will win the World Championship. But watching that face-to-face, watching that promo by both of them, I wouldn't. The reason why I think now it's a possibility is because I think, obviously, the plans aren't for Jon Moxley to drop the title. I don't think that they aren't the plans. I think if anyone's going to beat Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship, it's going to be Kenny Omega. I think that is the plan. But after a segment like that, I wouldn't put it past Jon Moxley to go to Tony Khan and Cody and all of those guys and say, you know what, there's something here. And I don't mind dropping the title to Eddie Kingston. Even if it's for, a couple of weeks. I don't mind doing it. And I would still lean towards Jon Moxley winning or retaining the AEW World Championship. And I still think he will retain the AEW World Championship. But I wouldn't completely rule it out. That is what I would say. I wouldn't completely rule it out. There is something in me that's just saying, don't rule him out. As we're back from commercial, looks like we're going to have our token women's match of the show that AEW insist on, which is Nyla Rose versus Red Velvet. Red Velvet is in the ring with Brandy Rhodes. And we're backstage and we have the Natural Nightmares. They're going to be facing the Butcher and the Blade next week. There's Ali. Bunny. Oh, here we go. Butcher and the Blade are attacking the Natural Nightmares. I think the Butcher's got a great look. Just a great look. Obviously, Braxton Sutter there. You would know his history with Impact and all that sort of stuff. Oh my god. Blade and the Butcher just dumped the backdrop onto Dustin Rhodes there backstage, but I think the Butcher, he's got an awesome look. Awesome look. And you have to remember the reaction that Blade and the Butcher got when they first debuted in AEW. They got the Who Are You and all that kind of stuff, but I think they're a really underrated tag team. I really like their work. As here is Nyla Rose, of course, with Vicky Guerrero in tow. Really enjoy this pairing. I love the pairing of Nyla Rose. I'm a big fan of Nyla Rose. I know some people aren't. I think Nyla Rose, I think she's an attraction. I think she's unique. I think she's a great addition to the women's division. She's different. What I will say is, I want to see more of the partnership between Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose. The problem is, how can you expect to see more of that relationship between Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose when you only have one women's match on Dynamite per week? Like, obviously, we've got Nyla Rose versus Red Velvet. It's kicked off here, and Red Velvet is doing a couple of kicks and all this kind of stuff. Great, awesome. But this is going to be a squash match. This is going to go 5 minutes at most. It's going to be the only women's match of the show. The only women's match on the show, and you have 2 women's championships matches on Saturday. How is that work? This booking of this division is the problem in this division. People will say, "Oh, the reason the AEW Women's Division isn't great is because the talent isn't great." Oh my God, picks up Red Velvet by her throat. It's great. It's great. This is awesome. That Nyla Rose looks great. She's being built up for the Women's Championship match on Saturday, but is the only women's match on the show going to be a squash match? It's the booking of the division. Hikaru Shida, once again, she's in the crowd. How often does she actually have matches on Dynamite at this point? And it just goes back to my point. This is the go-home show, full gear. You're not going to have another pay-per-view event until February of next year, and you've got one women's match on the show, and it's a 5-minute squash match. This is the problem. This is the absolute problem with AEW and the way they book their women's division. It's not a priority. Nyla Rose has caught Red Velvet. Red Velvet goes for a Hurricane Run. Looks like we're going to get a power bomb. Bang! Beast bomb. Oh my God. About broke her in half. Again, super impressive. That would be it. Nyla Rose pulls her head up though. It does the job, right? It does the job. It makes Nyla Rose look strong. It makes Nyla Rose look impressive and seem like a threat to Hikaru Shida on Saturday. That's great. As Nyla Rose has just hit Hikaru Shida's move, and Nyla Rose gets the victory. But that's it. That's our only women's match of the show on Dynamite this week. It lasted about 3 minutes. It was a squash match. This is the problem with the women's division. Nothing wrong with that match. Good match. It was a good squash match. Does the job. Does the story for Nyla Rose. Makes her seem like a big threat. But this is the problem with the women's division in AEW. Go home show. One women's match. It's about 3 minutes. It's a squash match. Why couldn't we have Hikaru Shida work on this show too? Why not have multiple women's matches? Why not have multiple women's storylines? Where's Britt Baker? Why don't I have her in a storyline with someone else? You've already announced earlier on as well that you're going to have Allysin Kay versus Serena Deeb on the buy-in. Are we going to have any promotion of that on the show? I know there's still 25 minutes left. But it's this booking of the women's division that is the biggest problem in AEW. People are quick to say that the AEW women's division is bad, and it is, but it's only poor because of the booking. The booking from the higher-ups is just not good enough. Here we go. Vicky Guerrero is confronting Brandy Rose, saying that you've got the CBO of the company and you still can't win a match. Oh, Vicky Guerrero just said that she's the CBSO, Chief BS Officer. She actually said, "Oh, you know what?" That was awesome. I don't think I've ever said Vicky Guerrero curse. We never used to see that on WWE TV. Vicky Guerrero says that Tony Khan is finally listening to what Vicky Guerrero has to say. Again, this is my point. Get more Vicky Guerrero on TV. How do you do that? Give the woman more TV time. Have Vicky Guerrero cut more promos on Dynamite each week. Vicky Guerrero is cutting a promo on Hikaru Shida. They're just going to give a little insight as to what's going to happen Saturday. Guerrero says that Hikaru Shida is going to have her bones broken on Saturday and she's going to cry and then she's going to give Nyla Rose the championship. Vicky Guerrero just did a bit of, can she say that? She just did a bit like almost like a, she just did like a Japanese bow, flirting with racism on Dynamite here. Bad enough for Chris Jericho on commentary doing it. But Vicky Guerrero is protected by Nyla Rose. The fight's broken up by a referee. Again, don't have a problem with that segment. Hypes up the match for Saturday. That's fine. I just want more women's matches on the show, AEW. More women's matches on the show. Have more storylines on the show. But we're only allowed one women's storyline per month. But what's Britt Baker doing? What's Big Swole doing? What's Thunder Rosa doing? What's Allison Kay doing? What's the NWA World Women's Champion Serena Deeb doing? Okay? Why can't you have those multiple storylines on one show? Because it's not a priority. That's the biggest issue. As we have a promo package for Kenny Omega and Hangman Page on Saturday. If you're enjoying this episode of Dynamite, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings, get into people's recommendation feed. So if you haven't yet, please do smash a like on the like button. If you haven't also, be sure to subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. Click that notification bell as well. Once you do, you'll be notified every time. Oh, it's Don Callis. Don Callis, Impact Executive Vice President, making a bit of a cameo there. Talking about Kenny Omega. Obviously, they're from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Same with Chris Jericho. Don Callis, Kenny Omega, and Jericho all from Winnipeg. What's this? We're getting like a cheesy 80s music video about the Tag Team Championship reign of Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. What is going on? Getting this bizarre. Bizarre. What is going on? I don't know what's going on, but we've got this sort of 80s cheesy reminisce video. It's like, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what the song is. You've got Omega and Page like hugging it out, celebrating, arguing. It does feel like a bad music video. And Hangman looking into the cracked mirror. It does seem like something you'd watch on MTV back in the day. Back when they actually showed music videos. Hey, what's crazy as well is that couple of bits there you saw Hangman and Omega celebrating becoming the champions and having some tag team matches when there was actually a crowd there. Do you remember having a crowd? It almost looks weird at this point. Seeing AEW with that crowd there seems crazy. Like you see them with the championships there at Revolution back in February. And they had a great crowd, great setup, great Titantron. They had the people in the crowd with the LED wristbands on, so they pulsed when they came on. That was awesome. It feels like a million years ago at this point, doesn't it? They're running through the card for Full Gear on Saturday, which I'm excited for. As I mentioned, we are doing a watch along. So be sure to subscribe, click the notification button so you'll be notified when we go live on Saturday. Really excited for that. Big card, stacked card. Obviously all the championships on the line. As they're running through the Full Gear card right now. Elite Deletion, Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara. I wouldn't be surprised, as I mentioned, if that's already been filmed. I think it might be. TNT Championship, Cody versus Darby Allin, as I mentioned. Excited for it. We've seen it a couple of times. But it's Chris Jericho, MJF. If MJF wins, he's in the inner circle. Chris Jericho's on commentary, hyping up his own match. How often do you see that? Orange Cassidy versus the Dark Order's John Force Silver. Big fan of John Silver. I think John Silver's so talented. I think he's got a great upside. I think he's great in the ring, but he's also got fantastic personality. He really does. Really does. Well, next week, oh my god, we got Penta El Zero Miedo versus Rey Fenix 2. Ooh, that is going to be something special. Their first match that they had was something else. But next we have Cody and the Gun Club versus Dark Order. We have a promo coming up next with Darby Allin. Here we go. We're going to get one of these weird Darby Allin promos that are shot in black and white. Is he going to be wearing a mask or a picture of Cody on his face? Sometimes he is. No, he's got a skateboard with him. As always, because that's what That's what Darby Allin does. He's always got a skateboard and all that deal with him. He's smashing a car. I know that. I think Darby Allin and Steve-O, Jackass fame, they're going to be doing something together soon. They said, which is interesting. There we go. Someone's got a Cody Rhodes mask on, smoking a cigar. Here we go. Darby Allin's going to run down Darby Allin's going to run down a guy. Legitimately, he just tried to kill someone with a car, which was odd. There you go. Darby Allin just ran down someone dressed as Cody Rhodes in a car. Right. But here we go. We're going to get the 6-man tag team match, which I'm guessing, yeah, it's going to be the main event. And Darby Allin is sitting in the stands watching this one because, of course, as I mentioned, Cody Rhodes will be defending the TNT Championship against Darby Allin on Saturday. But here we are. Here are the Dark Orders: John Silver, Colt Cabana, and 10. Colt Cabana's sort of addition to the Dark Order is a little bit strange, isn't it? When I say a little bit, it's really odd. I think the whole deal, wasn't it, was that the whole deal was that, you know, this was going to be temporary, or he was on a losing streak and Brody Lee had managed to sort of turn him around, and now Colt Cabana is, I guess, member of the Dark Order. Just seems very happy to be there, which is a bit odd. But I guess that's the I think that's just the part of the Dark Order, I suppose. Nick Thompson says, "What do you think of this show tonight, AEW so far?" Well, I think it's been a pretty good show. I think it's as you would expect, to be honest. When it comes to Dynamite Go Home shows, very strong usually. Haven't really heard that much of Jericho on commentary because obviously I've been doing the live stream, but Jericho on commentary is always a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the opener with the Inner Circle versus MJF and Wardlow. Miro versus Trent was pretty decent too. Again, don't like the way that match came about because of the broken arcade machine, but that's what that is. Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston face-to-face segment. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the face-to-face segment between Moxley and Kingston. I thought it was real. I thought it was passionate. I thought it was riveting. Eddie Kingston just continues to... It's always been a great promo, but there's something about him since he's come to AEW. He is just on another level, and it looks to me, as I mentioned, I think he's dropped a ton of weight too. Looks like he's lost a load of weight, so he's in the shape of his career right now. Do I think he'll win Saturday? I still will go with my prediction that I think Jon Moxley will win and retain the AEW World Championship on Saturday, but I would be lying if I said that there isn't something in me that says, you know what, Jon Moxley, Tony Khan might just be saying to themselves, look, Eddie Kingston's on a roll. And I know, obviously, I think the plan is to have Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley once again for the AEW World Championship this time and have Kenny Omega become the world champion. I do think that's the plan. But I think I think Eddie Kingston's on a roll. He's on a roll. I think his promos are insane at the moment. And I wouldn't even put it past Jon Moxley to go to Tony Khan and say, you know what, I've got to lose. I've got to drop the title. I've got to drop the title on Saturday because Eddie Kingston's he's on another level. He's on fire. He needs it. They have the potential. They do have the opportunity here at AEW to make a star. They really do have the opportunity to make a star. And when I say make a star, I mean put the world championship on someone never worked for WWE before on the big stage, isn't a WWE guy or anything like that. They have an opportunity there. And I think they should be aware of that, certainly. But here come Billy and Austin Gunn, the Gun Club. They're now members of the Nightmare family. Obviously, it was announced this week that there have been new members to the Nightmare family. Gun Club and a new sign, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Um, I'll be totally honest. I don't really have a lot of interest in seeing the Gun Club in the main event of Dynamite. I've seen a couple of the matches that they've had on Dark. I did a couple of I had to cover Dark for a few weeks, and I saw a couple of the matches that the Gun Club had. Obviously, Billy Gunn is Billy Gunn, even at this age, where I think he's like 50 or something like that at this point. Still looks great. You can read into that what you will. Obviously, why he left WWE because of that. Looks great though. Still unbelievable worker. He's great. Teams up with his son Austin Gunn. Very green, very very green. A couple of the matches I've seen on AEW Dark, he does come across as very very green. You see that sometimes in his work that Billy Gunn is essentially doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and a lot of the big spots. So I think Austin Gunn is trying. Although what I will say is that I know he's meant to be sort of, fun loving and all that sort of stuff. To me, Austin Gunn just comes across as really annoying. Just really annoying. He's like over the top and really like happy, I guess. That just always rubs me the wrong way. Just comes across as really annoying. You see Darby Allin there, he's sitting up in the stands, stewing, going full crow sting, looking onto Cody Rhodes from the stands. It's weird as well, AEW, and I know this might rub some people the wrong way, but I know it's a thought that certain people do share when it comes to Cody in AEW. Cody, without a shadow of a doubt, is the golden boy when it comes to AEW. He absolutely is the golden boy. It's what is Cody doing, and then everyone else is underneath, which to me is interesting when you think about the other names they've got on the roster. Kenny Omega. It's Cody's obviously the guy in AEW, isn't he? He obviously is the guy in AEW because we've seen AEW introduce the TNT Championship. I think it's meant to be a secondary championship. It's meant to be, AEW's United States Championship. It's Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, it's almost getting top billing at this point. Now we're going into Full Gear on Saturday, and obviously this is the main event. We had the Moxley and Kingston face-off, but the main event segment on the Go Home episode of AEW Dynamite into Full Gear is about the TNT Championship. And Cody said that he felt that the TNT Championship was the most important championship in AEW and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know. Just one of those things, isn't it? I think there's certainly something to look into when it comes to the treatment of Cody in AEW, without a shadow of a doubt. But Austin Gunn is working over John Silver right now. John Silver is tagged in. Austin Gunn is tagged in his father, Billy Gunn. And John Silver cowered into the corner and had his head stroked by Colt Cabana there. And just tagged in Colt Cabana himself. So we're going to have Colt Cabana and Billy Gunn in the ring in 2020, I must say. Oh, there's no doubt Billy Gunn looks great. I remember as well with Billy Gunn, you watch Billy Gunn in the Attitude Era on Monday Night Raw, and I wouldn't say at the time he looked small. He wasn't small, but he didn't look like ginormous. And I think the reason as to why he didn't look ginormous is because a lot of the guys there at the time were big guys. Whereas now, Billy Gunn, in comparison to the modern pro wrestler, is a giant. He's huge. He's absolutely massive. I remember The Rock. The Rock, when you think about The Rock in the Attitude Era on Raw, wasn't considered to be, a giant guy. He wasn't. He was average during that period of time. He was an average sized guy. You realise now he's like, 6'4", 6'5", 250. He's a giant man. He really is. Just goes to show the size of the guys during the Attitude Era. Austin Gunn, though, is now with 10 ring. Kick to the back by John Silver. Spine buster by 10 on Austin Gunn. Arn Anderson style spine buster. Arn Anderson, I think, is at ringside. But 10 is working on Austin Gunn. Kick to the face of Austin Gunn there. Gunn to picture in picture. It's just like watching WWE. We're going straight to advert as we've got 8 minutes left of the show. Guess they got to get in their ad breaks sometime. But again, interested that this is the main event of Dynamite. On the Go Home show, you would have thought that they'd have done something, and maybe that feels a bit bigger, a bit more of a, obviously we've still got, maybe a show closing angle, but I would have thought that we would have done something, like I said, just a little bit bigger, a little bit more newsworthy. Then, again, nothing against them, but Gun Club and certain members of the Dark Order, is that really your Go Home segment on the Go Home show before one of your 4 pay-per-views of the year? It just feels a little bit odd to me, I would say. Again, that's just me, but I would have thought we'd have done something a little bit different. But we've got our picture-in-picture right now as the Dark Order's working over Austin Gunn. As I mentioned, he's the youngest on the team, so they'll play up that he's the most inexperienced. Certainly is the greenest on the team. As I mentioned, a couple of his matches I covered on AEW Dark, and sometimes they weren't super pretty, I'll be totally honest. But when you got people there that are experienced, like Cody, Billy Gunn, obviously his father helps, having Colt Cabana in there as well, even John Silver, great worker. They can carry you through it without a shadow of a doubt, especially someone like Colt Cabana who's been doing it for ages. But like I said, it's like an odd main event, this, to me. Certainly an odd main event segment, without a doubt. But what's interesting is that we're in picture right now, and we're going to come back and literally have 5 minutes left. So, to me, unless there's an overrun, which TNT doesn't do an overrun most of the time, it feels like we're going to have this picture done, and the moment we get back, we're going straight into the finish. We'll have to be. But yeah, maybe they overran. They just need to get the. Maybe they overran. They just need to get the adverts in. I guess maybe that is the case. That is maybe the case. Here we go. We'll come back. 10 is working over Austin Gunn in the corner right now. Austin Gunn is in the corner of the Dark Order. There's Colt Cabana tags himself in. Rams to the face. Austin Gunn. Got to get a tag. I guess he'll get the hot tag to either Cody or his father. A bang. Colt Cabana, right hand to Cody. Kick to the face. To the face of Colt Cabana by Austin Gunn. Maybe he can make the hot tag to his father. Of course, you have to call him Billy and Austin Gunn. There you go. Tags in Billy Gunn. You're not allowed to call him Billy Gunn, Chris Jericho. WWE's going to sue. It will slam. Oh my God! Just threw John Silver on like he was nothing. Go. Flash in the corner to 10. We're going to go for a famouser here, looks like. Going to go for the famouser. Or clotheslines. Colt Cabana over the top rope to the outside. Here we go. Famouser, bang. Famouser. Famouser on 10. Is that going to be it? It's broken up by John Silver. Cody's in the ring, though. There you go. Power slam. John Silver. Couldn't really sell it, which is weird. There we go. Escalera. Oh, Escalera pressed to the outside onto Colt Cabana. Kick. Right, here we go. Billy's in the ring. And 10's going to go for the ripcord. Wow, ripcord cutter. Is that going to be it? Billy Gunn kicks out. It was close. Closer than I thought it was going to be. without a shadow of a doubt. Darby Allin, of course, is still in the stands. Hanging over. John Silver goes for suicide dive. Cody just throws him into the crowd. Cody just threw John Silver into the crowd and staring at him. Meanwhile, in the ring, we have Billy Gunn. Kick to the face of Preston. In comes Austin. Dunn's tagged himself in. Here we go. Austin hits a crossroads. Kane went for a spine buster again. Austin. Quick draw. Quick draw, and that's going to be it. And Austin Gunn gets a victory on the main event of Dynamite. So it looks like Austin Gunn's getting a bit of a push in AEW. I wonder if he's truly ready. Because I still think he's green. I still will say that I still do think he's green. But here comes the Dark Order at ringside. There's Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds. I think Tay Conti's. No, it's Anna Jay. John Silver sneaking up from behind with a steel chair. Oh, and here comes Orange Cassidy. I said we're going to get a show crazy angle of loads of people brawling, and that's exactly what we're going to get because it's AEW. Orange Punch, John Silver. So the Dark Order look like they're going to retreat here. And is that going to be the ending segment? Very odd. And Cody's got the TNT Championship in his hand right now. He's got the microphone too. So Cody's got the microphone. What's he going to say? Says that Darby Allin is saying that TNT doesn't want him at the face of the network because he's too reckless. Cody says that TNT would love to have Darby Allin as their TNT champion as the face of the network. Cody says he solely recruited Darby. That he forwarded Darby Allin's name to the EVPs. Cody says to Darby Allin to take one last look at the TNT Championship. Cody said that he's looking at the man that he left the superstar that left the Empire, went to war and actually won. Got Darby wanting the TNT Championship. Says he wants to be the face of AEW. Ace bout. Cody says that Darby Allin is not the ace. Obviously, they have the TNT Championship match Saturday. I think Darby has to win, to be honest, because he's lost so many big matches against the likes of Cody, against the likes of Chris Jericho. It's got to be Darby's moment. It's just a case of, will it be his moment on Saturday? Great promo by Cody, certainly. But again, to me, he comes off more as a heel. He comes off as a heel there. I think eventually he's going to turn heel because he comes across as a massive heel in that situation. He just does in those situations. I don't know. Does he come across as likable? I don't know if he does. But that's the episode of AEW Dynamite done as we head into Full Gear on Saturday. So what did you think of the show? Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below after this video is over, after this stream is over. As I mentioned, we'll be doing live watch-alongs for Friday Night SmackDown on Friday. We'll also be doing a watch-along for AEW Full Gear on Saturday. So be sure to subscribe. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now. Click that notification bell. Be notified when we go live for those watch-alongs. You'll also be notified when we add and upload videos that we do for daily here on the channel. We upload daily videos on the channel, so be sure to subscribe. You won't miss a single thing. If you have enjoyed this stream tonight, if you have enjoyed this watch along, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this stream today. Hope you've enjoyed AEW Dynamite, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.